gonna be honest. When I first listened to Whole Lotta Red, I hated it. But the reason I didn't like it was because I had expectations for it. In Carti's first album, Playboi Carti, we kind of got introduced to his overall sound and who he was as an artist. Especially in his working with Pierre, he just created this sound that pretty much is Playboi Carti. And then when we move into Die Lit, we still have that same bass Carti sound, but it's a bit more experimental. Especially with one particular song from that album, R.I.P., which kind of leads us into the direction of Whole Lotta Red. Another hint that Carti was leaning into this rock star phase also comes from the album cover work itself. The cover art is literally him stage diving into some punk rock looking individuals. Also in the song Love Hurts off Die Lit, Playboi Carti does say, "Shawty want a rock star." The talk of being a rock star and the desire has seemingly always been there. And now with this project, we get the execution of that. I think this is an album that should be listened to with clean ears, totally no expectations. I think you should just dive into this album expecting nothing, if possible. And it's also important to note that this album could potentially be a transitional album. The rockstar image he's going with right now could be a phase, or it could be permanent. Okay, why is Whole Lotta Red good? First reason Whole Lotta Red is good is because it has options. We definitely have a couple spooky tracks that sound kind of Halloween-y, kind of evil. Vamp Anthem is one of those songs. Also, Go to the Moon, when the violin comes in. For me, it's a little spooky, it's a little scary sounding. We have some kind of easy-going, trappy, bubbly songs with songs like Beano and Slayer. There's also tracks that don't really fit into any category, like Metamorphosis. I mean, the whole beat of the song is built around Kid Cudi's hum. It just sounds interesting. So pretty much this album just has a lot of different sounds to it. And if you're a fan of the more traditional sounding Carti, then there's still songs on here that should appeal to you. Not to mention that he still does his classic ad-libs like what and what. Okay, the production and the mixing. When I first listened to it, I didn't have headphones on. I just listened to it on my speaker. And it sounded really bad. And I was like,
wow, nobody mixed this. This is terrible.
Initially, it just sounded like some of the vocals had been recorded on voice memo and just looped over and over again on certain tracks, especially on Jump Out the House. That was part of the reason I hated the album as well, was because I didn't listen to it with headphones initially. And I feel like that's something that will definitely enhance your experience listening to this album. I'm a believer that everything in this album was done intentionally, especially with Kanye as an executive producer. Kanye West usually knows what he's doing. Another thing that should be noted is the execution. As I mentioned earlier, this punk image and rockstar lifestyle is something that Playboi Carti's been hinting at for quite a while. It's admirable that he could take on the challenge of wanting to become a rock star and a punk rap artist and effectively execute that idea. He's trying new things, he's pursuing dreams, and he's making it work, in my opinion. He's got songs on the album that are complete bangers. You have to imagine the stage presence on some songs. I Love You, I Hate You, Vamp Anthem, Not Playing, Punk Monk. I kind of like Stop Breathing too. Anyways, I'm not the best at explaining albums. All I know is that, as a longtime Playboi Carti fan, I think this album is a perfect representation of Playboi Carti's versatility, growth as an artist, and originality. Out of all the mainstream rappers right now, he's the only one that's really pursuing this rockstar persona. Overall, I would rate this album 8 out of 10. I've listened to it about 20 times now since it came out, and I just keep falling in love with these tracks every time I listen to it. It's just this big stew. It's a big stew of music. It has bits and pieces of the Carti that we know and love. It has chunks of the new Carti that we're just getting introduced to, who's potentially here to stay. But yes, Whole Lotta Red is a stew. We'll just call it an everything stew because it has a little bit of everything. That is all I have to say for this. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. And until next time.